And we are live. The 18th annual Toy Field, the Toy Drive, sponsored by A.O. Smith and Wayne's Pest Control. And we are inside the South End Zone Plaza between gates 8 and 9 of Nissan Stadium. We are here till 6 o'clock. Joan is here. I'm here as well. It is it still 28 degrees? Is it maybe a little bit warmer now?
Let me check it out.
We got here. It was 28 degrees. We've got heaters.
Oh, here. There's some good news for you.
Yes.
It's 27 now. You know how the temperature always dips a little in the morning.
Now, when you were in Philadelphia, did you ever do a broadcast out on the street this cold?
No. No. In Philadelphia, we were treated like kings and queens.
Oh, were you?
Yes.
Now, I think after the tornadoes a few years ago, I broadcast live from downtown somewhere where it was devastated by the tornadoes.
Okay.
And so I did a live broadcast out there. And I think it was about this temperature when I was out there doing that broadcast as well. Really, really cold, but it is for a great cause.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Joan, the cause, the reason we're out here, it warms my heart.
It warms your heart?
It warms my heart.
It's the only thing warming it right now.
It is for the kids. So y'all know what Toy Field is, right? So there is... In front of us, there is a little field, and it's like a football field. And by the end of the day, with your donations, that is going to be filled with all kinds of toys. And so what we're asking you to do is we're asking you to bring an unwrapped toy for a child or a gift for a senior, and it is all part of the Forgotten Angels program. And so I don't know what the big hot toy is right now, but if you want to bring something down, you can come on down. You can say hello to Joan. You can say hello to myself, and we would love to say thank you to you for bringing down an unwrapped toy for the kids. By the way, brought to you today by A.O. Smith and also Wayne's Pest Control and our friends at Nashville Tent and Awning. And again, appreciate all the help. Do you think, Joan, anybody's going to show up here at Nissan Stadium?
I hope so.
They usually do.
Okay. I mean, it would be easy if you just left a couple of minutes early for work. Come on by the stadium, park your car real quick, run in, say hello. We'll take a picture, and then you can be on your way, and you'll feel good about doing so for the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you want to bring, again, a toy for a child, a gift for a senior.
Yeah.
And how old are you, Joan?
I'm not telling you.
So
Dan.
you're more senior than I am. So what do you think a senior might want?
So I was thinking about this today.
I actually was too.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be simple stuff like like a nice coffee cup or reading materials. I don't know. I think clothing's probably too personal, right?
Yeah.
What kind of other stuff would you get a senior? Warm clothing.
Warm clothing would be good.
How about like mittens and a hat, like a matching kind of stuff? That would be nice.
You know what's so funny? When we were kids, we would have hated these gifts.
Yes.
But
yes.
do you know? I actually asked my daughter. She was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I actually told my daughter, I wanted socks.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
My kids.
My wife was like, "Man, you really are old."
Yeah.
But listen, the economy is looking better and better, so you folks have no excuse, and that's where I want to start the hours. So, by the way, Super Text line is open.
Oh, yes.
615-737-9986.
Checking out our text, too. Let's see.
The economy
Does it have to be a new toy? Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Isn't that
it
that's
has
a
to
good
be
question.
a new toy unwrapped.
And also, is there room to park a box truck? Yeah, I think you can park a
box truck. Yeah, there's a room.
Yeah. Bring it on in.
Listen, if you want to bring a box truck full of toys, that would be wicked cool.
Way cool, yeah.
Wicked cool.
Okay, wicked.
Yeah, that's a Boston thing.
I see.
So, it would be great if you could. And you can come say hi to, the donation of the toy certainly is worth it for the cause.
Yes.
But also to meet Joan Jones.
No, stop. Come on. We want to meet people. We want you to come on down here. Mm-hmm. I want to take pictures with people and post them on my social media.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, yeah.
That'd be fun.
And we're going to be out here all day. So after me, Chris Hand will be here at 9. And again, as we said, that's when all the coffee and the hot water will be here at 9.
There'll be donuts here, I'm sure.
It'll be here at 9, yes. Yeah. Also, and then Chad will be here noon to 3, and then Murphy Show from 3 to 7. So if you want to meet Matt, you want to meet, we've got Jackson is here as well, and we're having a good time. By the way, this is a great audio bite. You want to hear a great audio bite?
Yes.
All right. This is a woman who is suddenly realizing that, you know what, gas prices are going down.
Yeah.
Gas, let's just call it $1.83. I have not seen gas $1 and some change since the early 2000s. What the hell going on?
Let me tell you what's going on, girlfriend. Gas is looking better and better. Every time I mention gas prices, this is what I love about our audience. Every time I mention gas prices, I get notes from you folks telling me how good the gas prices are. Prices are down. I wrapped up the last segment in the previous hour talking about how the Democrats are going to rue the day, and I'm going to get Matthew Hurtt's opinion on this because he's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. But every time we talk about gas prices and every time we talk about the economy and how things seem to be just getting better, we talked about on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, record amounts of money were spent. I mean, that, I think, clearly is an indicator, more than any politician spewing talking points will tell you. Those are indicators that the economy is doing better. And I think that for President Trump, he is laser focused, it seems to me, on doing what he can to improve the economy. Gas prices are down, 4-year low. Remember, it was weeks ago, really, that I said the Democrats making affordability their key issue could actually be making a mistake because the economy is getting better. That lady, and I'm not sure exactly where she was, but she was stunned at how much lower gas prices are. Somebody might want to tell her, by the way, that President Trump has pushed for lower and lower gas prices through policy, pushing for more domestic drilling, boosting production, encouraging innovation through deregulation, among many other things. Brooke Rollins, she is AG secretary under Donald Trump. She is very excited, as a lot of people are.
2.5 million new jobs that have been created since the president was sworn in, all going to American-born citizens. This is amazing. The fastest wage growth in 60 years. Gas is down. Lumber is down. Eggs are down, Larry Kudlow. Really, everything is coming down. But we believe so sincerely. Listen, we're not tone deaf. We know that America, or a lot of Americans at least, are like, well, we're still not feeling the relief. The relief is coming. The structure is there. The one big beautiful bill, tax cuts go into effect. Costs are coming down. It really is a golden age just right around the corner. And I am so excited and so grateful as the president now moves out across the country next year to talk about it as we continue the work here in Washington to make sure it happens.
See, that messaging is actually perfect because she's talking about the successes, but she is also talking about how she knows that there is still work to be done. So she's touting the wins, but she's continuing to push forward, as is Donald Trump. And effectively what they're saying is, we feel your pain, we're working hard to fix it, and we are going to be doing that every single day. You know who else threw the Democrats for a loop yesterday? I don't know if you saw this. Dave Ramsey.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He threw the Democrats for a loop. I just got one little audio bite to play because I think part of what's going on, and we can talk a little bit about this coming back, but I think the Democrats are really trying to make affordability happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm
Yes.
not saying that the economy is perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination, but there have been clear signs that things are getting better. This is what Dave Ramsey had to say.
Interest rates are down, and gas prices are down below $3 in most places. The economy seems to be, the people we're talking to are really not having huge, serious affordability problems. There's a lot of talking heads, a lot of squawking about that, but most of that's political.
I mean, you heard him say a lot of that is political. I'm laughing, for people watching on Super Talk TV, which is up and running. Nobody wants to hear this, but my nose keeps running, and I don't have any tissue. Do you have any tissues?
Look, here's what I...
Oh, look at Joan. Look at Joan.
See, I went into the bathroom. I'm the mom.
The mom of the show. Thank you so much. Because,
enjoy that one ply.
Whatever.
This is actually 2-ply. This is what's going on at the Titans Stadium.
They got 2-ply here?
They got 2-ply.
That's because they play like crap.
Listen.
Oh.
No. They need to switch to 1-ply and get an offensive line. Huh?
Put
Be
the
more in the
savings
budget.
in. Yeah.
Some football humor right there. All right. There you go. I thought that was funny. Anyway, you heard Dave Ramsey talk about talking points and talking heads. And I think that there is something to be said for the fact that the Democrats are, and, Donald Trump, we all know what he did. Donald Trump said that affordability is a Democrat con job. And what the president means by that is that the Democrats, it's awfully rich now as the Democrats led us through 4 years of the worst economy in recent memory with Joe Biden. And now all of a sudden, they're out there again squawking about the economy. So I think that is what Donald Trump means. But we do have a lot to be proud of. And 2026 hasn't even happened yet. Remember what's going to happen in 2026 with a lot of those tax breaks, no tax on tips, and all the other things that the president has done, no taxes on overtime, all the things that the president has done to put more money in your pocket. So that's going to be a very big deal. And again, I'm going to ask Matthew Hurtt. Matthew, if you're listening, first question I'm going to ask you, will the Democrats rue the day that they made affordability the phrase for 2026 in the midterm elections? Because, again, that may turn out to bite them in the butt. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. We missed a story yesterday. We had a lot of stories we covered yesterday, and so it wasn't a lack of other content, but we missed this story, and I think it's interesting. Did you know that the New York Times has now done a blockbuster expose, Joan, on how Joe Biden shanked immigration?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I've heard this story. It is amazing. Like, what caused them to wake up?
I don't know, but this was the headline.
Yeah.
The headline was How Biden Ignored Warnings and Lost Americans' Faith on Immigration. They say that his staffers warned of chaos if Joe Biden did what he was talking about, allowing massive immigration into the country. He was warned many times, and his inner circle ignored the warnings, and they way underestimated the scale of migration or illegal immigration, and they failed to appreciate the political reaction to that migration. What is stunning, though, is that they didn't see this coming. I mean, they clearly weren't listening to talk radio. They clearly weren't listening to, I don't know what the podcasters were doing, but it's stunning that they were so, I guess maybe the right word is insulated.
Yeah.
They were so insulated, they had no idea that the American people were seeing what was going on, and they were horrified by it. And we were all talking about how this is something that America may never, ever actually recover from. And we're seeing that right now. This is part of that story from the New York Times. As public concern over border security grew, partly in response to Mr. Biden's own actions, his administration proved catastrophically slow to change course, former aide said. The president and his closest aides treated immigration as a distraction over other issues, such as the coronavirus pandemic and the economy. Now, I don't need to bother really talking about this all that much because we've already said this. We've been saying this for years. But wasn't it the New York Times, the same media outlet that many years later actually admitted that Hunter Biden's laptop story was real and not Russian disinformation? Yes, it was. And didn't it also take the New York Times a long time to admit that COVID could have actually come from that Wuhan lab? Yes. So in other words, I'm starting to notice a pattern. And that pattern is that talk radio and conservatives, we scream about things for years before the mainstream media finally catches up to us.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. It is funny that they keep doing this. And so they're going to be, and I'm just telling you, the New York Times probably going to be hitting the economy hard and talking about affordability and how people can't afford stuff, when the reality is that while there is work to be done, things are looking better and better. And yes, things are looking up.
I think you're going to get some hot water, Dan.
I'm so excited. I'm going to get some hot water. We are broadcasting.
An hour and a half. And
it's 6:38.
Yeah.
A full hour and almost 40 minutes into the broadcast. I'm going to get some hot water and maybe some coffee by 9. So it's all good, though. It's all for a good cause, Joan.
Yes.
So
I hear.
we're out here at Toy Field, and we're asking that you bring in a toy for an unwrapped toy for a child or a gift for a senior out here at Nissan Stadium. This is really a great deal. 18 years we've been doing it. It is our 18th annual Toy Field Toy Drive. It is sponsored by our friends at A.O. Smith & Wayne's Pest Control, and we are inside the south end zone between gates 8 and 9 of Nissan Stadium until 6 o'clock tonight. And looks like somebody just dropped off some toys, as a matter of fact.
There we go, yes.
That is very exciting. Now, I want to welcome on into the program Matthew Hurtt, our grassroots political analyst. Matthew, always great to have you on. And so we've been talking about how the economy is really starting to show signs of life. I'm not Pollyannish about this. I do know that there's still much work to do. But one of the things that Dave Ramsey said, I don't know if you heard me play that audio, but Dave Ramsey said, when you look at the actual behavior of Americans on, for example, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, where we set records for purchases. I know that there's work to be done. I know you know that there's work to be done, but you and I have talked about how there's a possibility that the Democrats may rue the day when they made affordability as the phrase for, heading into the midterm elections because, by some accounts, the economy is turning around.
Dan, I know that hot water is for throat coat tea, and I'm excited because what is happening, Americans spent $11.8 billion on Black Friday, and gas prices are down. Caroline Levitt just yesterday and this morning is sharing gas prices on her Instagram account.
Nice.
And as you and I have talked about for the last couple of weeks, these prices are delayed indicators of the policies of the Trump administration. So when President Trump announces something or when Congress acts to bring down prices in some way, it will take several weeks or sometimes even several months for those prices to actually adjust. And now we're seeing that. And you and I have talked about this affordability issue. The first time you brought it up, the first time you asked about it, I said if President Trump went out and said, I feel your pain, and started to engage in either executive action or moving things through Congress, we would eventually see what we are starting to see now.
Yep.
And this is good news. This allows Republicans in the midterms to take this messaging point away from Democrats and to make it their own, which then eliminates pretty much if you were to look at the top 2 or 3 or 4 issues that a Democrat challenger might run on in the midterms, this takes away the most significant issue that they can run on.
So what do we need to see, Matthew, for the Republicans to be able to claim victory on the economy?
I think lowering interest rates, again, these consumer prices, what people see at the pump, what they see at the grocery store, these kinds of things, where the rubber meets the road on where the average American says this is too expensive or the prices are coming down. And it is at that point that more and more Americans will realize that these are good policies. And I think what has started to happen, those dominoes have started to fall, and they will continue into the spring and summer. And then finally, when voters start paying attention in the general election, this happens late August, September, October, we've now had 10 or 11 months of a slow descent of prices across different economic indicators, and people say, hey, the economy is doing pretty well. My 401k is doing pretty well. These Trump accounts for our children and grandchildren are going to be doing pretty well. And that is all good news. It's good news for the consumer, it's good news for the American voter, and it's good news for Republicans in Congress.
It's interesting. I don't know if you saw, and then we'll move on to other things, but have you heard of I think they call it the Common Man Index?
I haven't.
So the Common Man Index, I talked about this yesterday, it's not an official data point that the government uses, but it is done by, I believe it's a financial house. And so what they do is they look at the things that Americans have to buy, not what they want to buy, but what Americans have to buy. So we're talking about, clothing for children. We're talking about, food, milk, bread, all those kinds of things. And so if you look at the Common Man Index, they will show you that is down. The Common Man Index, those prices are actually down. Now, there's obviously some debate back and forth, but I do find it interesting that depending on what benchmark you are looking at, the economy already does look better. And Matthew, 2026 hasn't even begun yet. And so I think that there are better times ahead. I thought that the messaging is perfect. I was playing some audio earlier from Brooke Rollins. Hopefully people heard it, where she was touting the wins, but she was also acknowledging that there's still work to be done. The last thing the Trump administration wants to do is pull a Biden and try to tell people that they're not feeling what they're feeling.
Well, absolutely. And I'm now looking at this Common Man Index, and there were several spikes in the Biden administration, and those were real impacts on the American people. That's what you and I talk about when we talk about the last 4 years of those Biden expenses and the economy, even into the first several months of the Trump administration. Again, I think this is a significant win. We frequently tell our politicians, or we vote based on what our politicians will promise us and not what the outcomes are. And what we're going to see, like I said, over the next few months is a trend in the right direction for the economy. I want a strong economy regardless of who's president and who's in Congress, but the policies make the difference. And these Trump administration policies and Republican policies are important.
And Matthew, let's talk a little bit about Jasmine Crockett. And she has now announced that she is running for the Senate. She had some dude doing a rap song at her announcement yesterday. I thought that was an interesting and unique touch. So talk about what do you think her chances are going to be, not only in a primary but in a general election.
Well, she also tweeted a video of her, basically a profile video of her with overlaid with Donald Trump insults playing, and Matt Walsh retweeted it yesterday and said, I actually agree with every word said in this Jasmine Crockett announcement video. This is going to be a real problem for Democrats. There are several states, Maine, Michigan, and Texas, are three states where Senate Democrats Chuck Schumer and Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland are sounding the alarm, because what is very likely to happen, we've seen months and months of No Kings protests. We saw Jay Jones in Virginia, a radical who got elected, who made it through. This is going to be a very serious problem for Democrats in states that they must pick up or hold going into the midterms to take the Senate. I'm looking at the Senate map now, and I just mentioned Maine, I mentioned Michigan, I mentioned Texas. Maine and Texas both have Republican senators. Michigan has a Democrat senator. But in all three of those states, Senate Democrats are trying to put their thumb on the scale. This is the establishment on the other side, as many of your listeners will recognize, to try to nominate somebody who is a moderate to appeal to independents and soft Republicans, never Trumpers and others heading into the midterms. This is the only path forward for Democrats in the Senate in 2026. And I think, just by looking at the map, I think somebody like Jasmine Crockett will appeal to the base. She'll appeal to the people who will come out and organize for her and vote in a primary, right. But she doesn't get much further than a primary election, and she's a turnoff to independents, moderates, and never Trump Republicans in Texas.
Now, okay, so maybe you can help me, because I was trying to figure this out earlier. Is John Cornyn in Texas retiring?
I am not sure if he's. I haven't seen any headlines where he's retiring. But what we have here is, there's John Cornyn and there's Ted Cruz in Texas. Right. Both of them are on either side of the establishment and conservative coin for many Texans. And he's got a record and a history in Texas. It's very likely on a generic ballot that he would get reelected handily.
Hey, let's talk about real quick about the gerrymandering that may be happening in Virginia. I was talking to Hans von Spakovsky yesterday about this, and part of what I'm looking at with all of this gerrymandering is we're going to get to the point in some of these states where there's really no need to have a general election because everybody knows what's going on. But in Virginia, you're talking about how right now I think it's roughly 6-5. It could end up 10-1 in favor of Democrats if this gerrymandering actually happens. This is where you live.
You're absolutely right. And Hans is just down the road in Fairfax where he votes. We are at 6-5 Democrat. There are 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. The Democrats in the legislature are working to redraw those lines. There are a series of legal maneuvers that can take place in April if they pass this. We're still about a month out from legislative session. January 14th is where we're going to see the Democrats quickly pass this because they have a series of hard and fast deadlines. Virginia has 45 days of early voting. You can't play with the dates. You can't add or move elections once early voting is started. And so we're potentially looking next year at a late April date where Republicans can file a lawsuit. Now, the courts are likely to side with Democrats, which would then put an August primary. We normally have a June primary in Virginia. I know Tennesseans are familiar with August elections. We've got an August primary, and then we would immediately go into early voting for a general election. And it looks like where I live, Arlington, and where Hans lives in Fairfax, they're going to draw basically octopus tentacles into the other districts and go from 6-5 to 10-1. That is their fever dream for the Democrats, and we're likely to know much more about it in January and then again in April.
How worried are you? Because we all know that Texas got the Supreme Court permission, if you will, to go ahead and do what they want to do. They passed that referendum in California where they're going to be doing the same thing there, gerrymandering. When all is said and done, do we have an indication as to how the numbers are going to play out, whether or not which side will have more of an advantage because of the gerrymandering? Do we know that?
Well, in Indiana chickened out. We've forgotten about Indiana. A couple of months ago, we were certain that Indiana was going to be able to draw most of its districts into Republican leaning, but then a Republican state senator chickened out, and I don't think they're moving forward on that. I think we're looking at still a very close margin with a slight Republican edge on a generic ballot. But what happens if the economy goes the other way? What happens if these No Kings protesters stay enthused and stay excited? I talked about the Tennessee 7 race with Matt Van Epson and how that margin had narrowed, and that was for a number of reasons, but we saw a 13-point swing in the Democrats' direction in Virginia. And so what it's going to take is for listeners who are tuning in now, who show up to committee events and support for candidates, to do the hard work come summer 2026, to not be complacent. If you agree with the Trump agenda, if you think what he is doing is the right thing and it's good for the country and it's good for the economy, we can't sit on the sidelines in the midterms and let Democrat overperformance swamp some of these R+1 or R+3 districts.
All right, Matt Hurtt, always great to have you on. I think that's all the time we have for. Is there anything else? I think I got about 90 seconds left. I hate to do this on the air. Joan, you're futzing with your microphone and it's up.
Oh, making a lot of noise, am I?
You sure are.
Sorry, Matthew.
Matt,
that was up jacket. It's cold over there, but it's 19 degrees here, and your listeners can find me on X at Matthew Hurtt, MatthewHurtt.
All right, very good. We'll talk to you next time. It is 6:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, tomorrow, just so everyone knows that I'm on top of the news. Not a lot of people are talking to me these days, Joan, about Trump bombing the hell out of those Venezuelan drug boats or anything else. Everybody's talking to me about In-N-Out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, everybody's talking to me about In-N-Out. Yes, I know In-N-Out is opening tomorrow in Lebanon. So I'm going to be putting out a request to Matt Murphy to get in line early and save me a seat in line, save me a place in line. I want him to get there like 5 or 6. They're going to open,
A.M. A.M. is what you're saying, yes. Yeah. Okay.
A.M., and then I can be there by like 9:30 or 10, and he and I can have a hamburger together. You think he'll do it? Do you think he'll show up at whatever time?
I think you need to offer him a little something extra. Like
I'll buy him some fries.
Well, gosh, that's nice of you.
I'll buy him a strawberry shake.
How about pay his mortgage for a month?
Yeah,